Assalamu alaikum, shalawama, Islam to all the Moors. Welcome to the free astrotheology course. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. This is The Celestial Ship of the North, published in 1927. The author is Elena Valicia Stratton. So let's pick it up, scholars. Chapter 3, page 41. Be sure you go back and watch the last class if you missed it. You can get the other classes uh, on this channel North. The classes that are not here on North, search Zion Law School on YouTube, and you can watch them there, along with a lot of other astrotheology content. So let's pick it up. Page 41, last paragraph. This is chapter 3. The title is, quote unquote, it is in the mythical we have the truth. It is in the mythical we have the truth. So what is this telling us? This is telling us that everything traces back to the Great Mother, or the Thai, or also known as, rather, the Great Bear. Okay, so what this is telling us, of course, the dogmatic religion traces back to, or has its origin in, the mythology. The mythology traces back to the teaching tools, the allegorical stories, the metaphors that our ancestors used to pass the knowledge about the Hermetic laws and religious history, okay? Played off to be a real history. Okay, y'all? So this is what this is talking about. So page 41, last paragraph. In his Lunaolatry, Ancient and Modern, Gerald Massey states, Gerald Massey is supposed to be the greatest Egyptologist of all time. He wrote Egypt, the Light of the World, and a lot of other books. And this author relies on what's the name of the book? Well, we'll come back to it. I don't want to get stuck. I want to move forward. I want to get past these first 3 or 4 pages. Well, 1, 2, 3. These first 3 pages as quickly as possible. So y'all Google search Gerald Massey and his works, okay? In modern phraseology, a statement is sometimes said to be mythical, is said to be mythical in proportion to its being untrue. Y'all got that? If it seems that it's not true, it's called a myth. But the ancient mythology was not a system or mode of falsifying in that sense. So he's talking about ancient, he's talking about the Sabian Moors. Okay? So the teaching tools that our ancient ancestors, these allegories, metaphors, similes, so on and so forth, that they came up with to describe the Hermetic laws and the laws of thermodynamics and that which is tangible being formed and reformed from that which is intangible. He's saying that these allegories were not lies. They were not lies. They were never meant to be taken to be flesh and blood men and women. Everybody see that? In other words, they were not a system or mode of falsifying history. So we see the definition, the meaning of mythology has changed. Okay, last sentence on page 41. Its fables were the means of conveying facts. Y'all hear that? So these allegories These teaching tools conveyed facts. Facts. They were neither these. They refers to neither. They refers to the allegories. They were neither forgeries nor fictions. In other words, they were truth. Fortunately, primitive man. So primitive man would be the Sabian Moors. Okay, so the time frame, the dispensation of time that we're dealing with is before the solar zodiac projection. In other words, this is before time was reckoned or time was kept by the sun sun. It was before that period. Okay? Before that period. In other words, your reality was not based on the sun sun and the seasons. This is what it's telling us. Fortunately, primitive man was not a metaphysician. Y'all hear that? He wasn't a... I'm tempted to look up metaphysician, but I might go down a lane and not come back off of it, not get off of it until 3 hours later. So let me leave that alone. Y'all look up metaphysician, okay? He was spared the quote unquote darkness of subjectivity. Subjectivity, which has been called the modern disease, and which seems to exclude the understanding of primitive man. In other words, of the Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, man, okay? The man that sprung from the soil, the original man, the heir apparent, all right? The law, okay? The law. There's a lot in there. Okay, next paragraph. The beginnings of the mythology of the Akkadians and of the Egyptians are definite and identical. So how does that happen, y'all? The ancient method of conveying facts was by mythology, a plain, simple mode of expression, and in no way occult. In no way occult. Oh, let's look up occult. In no way occult. Excuse me. Okay, occult, adjective of, relating to, or dealing with supernatural or magical influences, agencies, or occurrences. So this is for all you Hebrew Israelite religious people, all you Christians, all you Hebrew Israelite Jewish, all you Jewish Hebrew Israelites, I guess that's what I should say. There's nothing supernatural about it. There's no magic involved. Okay? So you can't say that this is of the devil. All right. Definition number 2 of occult. Available only to the initiate. Secret, mysterious. Synonym, mysterious. Okay? So what is this telling us? This is telling us that this was common knowledge. You didn't have to be a member of a secret society. You didn't have to be a hierophant or an initiate in a secret society. Everybody knew this. Just like everybody now knows their ABCs. You know, the 1, 2, 3s and the ABCs. This was common knowledge. It was not occult. It was not hidden. Okay, it was not reserved for members of secret societies. Okay, this was common knowledge. Number 3, beyond the realm of human comprehension. Okay, so this is not something that can't be understood, or quote unquote spiritual in a religious sense, or of the devil, or demonic. It has nothing to do with that whatsoever. It is rooted in nature. Okay, so nature, meaning those laws or principles that are unseen but observable, and the natural phenomena that we can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. In other words, reality. Okay, everyone sees what the author is presenting to us right now. All right. The ancient method of conveying facts was by mythology. And that's actually brilliant because it's through stories that you can more easily remember, retain, and recall information through stories. Okay, and then the little heirs can understand these stories, even though their brains or their nervous system isn't fully developed. They can still understand the stories in the same way that they can sit down and watch a cartoon. Okay, and they can understand the cartoon. They might see the elements that are hidden in there for adults. Okay, but they understand it at their level. All right, they understand it at their level. All right, so let's keep going. This is how brilliant our ancestors are. The sentence continues, a plain, simple mode, mythology is a plain and simple mode of expression, and in no way occult, in no way mysterious, in no way involving devils, demons, gods, and goddesses. By placing oneself in touch with this simple understanding of nature. Okay, so all of the religious people right now, you can relax because there's nothing to do with any gods or devils to make you have to run away thinking you're being disloyal to your God, or thinking that you're knocking on Satan's door by considering this. No, this is an understanding of nature. And if you think that understanding nature, observing, understanding, investigating, experimenting with, creating, and producing technology, products, and services, if you think that that's of the devil, throw away your cell phone. Okay, throw away your air conditioning. Throw away your car. Burn it, right? Because if it's of the devil, you need to burn it. You can't sell it. But common sense tell you to sell it, don't it? Throw away your refrigerator. Throw away all of your devices. Throw it all away. Because if you think that understanding nature, see, everything that all of these technologies, no matter how advanced or simple they are still technologies that have their root in understanding nature and natural phenomena. Period. Turn off your TV. Don't listen to the weatherman. Okay? Don't do anything or use any tool. All right? So if you're gonna say that that this is of the devil, you got to take it. You have to apply it across all areas of your life. All right? Otherwise, you're being a hypocrite. All right? Or at least just fooling yourself. Okay? Well, let's continue. The sentence continues there, so there's a comma there. The sentence continues. At least a faint gleam may be had of the mysteries of the now shadowy past. Very interesting, right? So we need to look at these mythologies and see what we can see about the shadowy past. Why shadowy past? Well, a shadow is when sunlight is blocked And so there's darkness there, right? So the shadowy past, in the dark, you can't see what's there. Okay? You can't see what's there. So all of this remixing that they have done has been meant. Am I? I ate so much food today. We had today was, in Vietnam, teachers, like the teacher told me today, in their society, the most important person is your mother and father, or the most important people are your mother and father in terms of honor and respect. Third is a teacher. So they go all out on Teachers Day. November 20th is Teachers Day in Vietnam. They go all out. And I just left a celebration. Ate a lot. And the food was delicious. Uh, you can come to Vietnam just for the food, and you would. I'm trying to get the server to get me. In Vietnam, they call coffee cafe. You can come to Vietnam just for the food. I mean, the food is absolutely amazing. There's no comparison in terms of a country and its food. No comparison. And plus, in Vietnam, you can get you can get Japanese, Indian, the best Indian food. The food actually Indian food in foreign countries is 1,000 times better than Indian food in India. Hold on, y'all. But anyway, let me get back on track. Let me get back on track. I feel I feel like I need to drink something because I'm talking so much. Hold on. I know this lady see me. Anyway, so let's continue with the paragraph. So all of these remixes have buried the truth. Okay? This is what the author is getting at. So in that past, diademed by the stars of heaven, sacred because celestial, began the generations of the heavens. I have to reread this sentence. With the separation of the upper from the lower. Okay, so this is reminding me of Genesis chapter 1. Okay? Or the separation of the light from darkness. Okay, so that's where they were going. All falsities found in the interpretation of the myths are due to their having become literalized. They didn't become literalized. An editor edited the stories. And then the ecclesiastical class went out there and taught lies. Jeremiah 8, verse 8. That's what happened. Okay, that is what happened. Let me show you the scripture. Hold on. Oh, the lady is at lunch. Maybe that's why she's ignoring me. I couldn't work in the service industry, y'all. They'd have to fire. I would get fired. I don't have I don't have the tolerance to do work like this. Hold on, y'all. Oh my gosh. I know they see me. You know, I think I'm like furniture here because I come here so much. You know. Hi. Black Cafe again. No sugar, okay? Cafe. And tea.
Today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right, y'all. So let's continue. So we're on page 42. So 4 plus 2 is 6. Um, one of the meanings of 6 is perfection. Okay, so let's see if we come across something that has something to do with the number 6. 6 is also 6 is also, man, has something to do with the perfect man, or I have to check it, y'all. It's not in my at the top of my mind right now. Thank you. It's not at the top of my mind right now. I needed some as my when I was younger. When I was younger, one of my I guess I could say he was a good friend. His mother, when I would visit, she would always, "Would you like a liquid refreshment?" And at that time, I had never heard people usually say, "Would you like something to drink, or would you like a glass of water, or would you like some juice?" You know, but she would say, "Would you like a liquid refreshment?" And that stuck with me. So anyway, y'all, let's get back to it. I need to read that sentence again, okay? By placing oneself in touch with the simple understanding of nature. This is a complicated way, an overly complicated way of saying one, once you become aware that these mythological stories were never intended to be to they were never intended to be taken as true, and they were never intended to be lies wrapped in the story, but they just conveyed natural phenomena, right? Natural phenomena at the level of the unseen and the physical. Okay, so by placing oneself in touch with these with this simple understanding of nature, at least a faint gleam may be had of the mysteries of the now shadowy past. Why is he calling it a mystery? Because everybody is searching for the truth in religion. Everybody is searching for the truth in astrology and astrotheology. Everybody is searching for the truth in science. Right? Science in these modern times, science is religion. Period. Okay, and their doctrine, their dogmatic religious doctrine can come in the form of different tests and examinations, different. Well, let me stop. Let me stop because YouTube, my experience with YouTube, when I start talking like this, they take the video down or threaten to strike my channel. So let me leave that on the table. Okay. So let's keep it going, y'all. All right. So once you know that, at least a faint gleam may be had of the mysteries of the now shadowy past. Oh, here's a sentence I needed to reread. In that past, in that shadowy past, diademed by the stars of heaven, sacred because celestial, began the generations of the heavens. He's talking about the great mother, circle 7 and the clock of destiny, the thigh. So the great mother is the thigh, is the great bear, is Hathor. Okay, this is what he's talking about. All of these are synonyms. The bear, the thigh, the great mother, typhoon, the great mother typhoon, the great mother nature. Okay, the circumpolar zodiac projection is what he's talking about. All right. So there began the generations of the heavens, and that's how I'm absolutely sure, because the great bear, remember the great bear, the celestial ship of the north, this is the beginnings. This is the Garden of Eden. This is Meru, Meru, Meru. Okay? The beginning, the location of the beginnings and the beginning of time, right? If you have been following my work, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, if you've been coming to class, you know what, because this is not my work. I'm only uh, giving commentary as I read through it, right? All right, so with the separations of the upper from the lower, so as above, so below, as below, so above. This is the Hermetic law of compensation, or the separation of light from darkness. So let's go to page 14. Yeah, I wish I had a situation where I could just do this the whole day, focus on this. Uh, Page 14, footnote number 2. The Egyptians symbolically named capital God, God, the quote unquote ancient darkness. So now, y'all try this. When you read the Biblioheliotext, replace God, capital God, with ancient darkness. How about that? Listen, y'all, scholars. The Egyptians symbolically named God. God, of course, is not an ancient word. It's not an ancient term. Okay? It's absolutely not an ancient term. So in this case, the author is mixing a term that comes from a time period way, way, way in the future. He's mixing terms from different time periods. You cannot do that in academia unless you're speaking to people who have a concept that's wrong. Right? They have a wrong concept. They have this concept of God that is not ancient. So I understand why the author wrote this way. So the Egyptians symbolically named capital God, God, the quote unquote ancient darkness. Of this darkness, H.P. Blavatsky writes, quote unquote, darkness is the root of light. If it's the root of light, that means darkness is the fundamental building blocks of light. That means without darkness, there can be no light. That means the essence of light is darkness. Light is matter. Darkness is pure spirit. Darkness, metaphorically, is absolute light. Do you understand what the author just said here? Darkness is absolute light. Let's examine this. The celestial ship of the north, the great mother Hathor, the great mother Typhoon, is absolute darkness. Do y'all get it? And what does she say? I think it's page 9. Let's go to page 9. Y'all follow me, okay? Follow me. I don't know where it's going, but just follow me. I believe it's page 9. Page 9 is page. Yeah, here it is. Here it is, page 9. At Sais, she, that's the great mother, was bespangled with stars. And every time I think of that, I think of the Star Spangled Banner. She was bespangled with stars. And there she gave her mystic message. This is the great mother, Typhoon. This is Hathor, the celestial ship of the north. And there, this is at Sais. This is the northern celestial pole region. That's there. That's the location. And there, she gave her mystic message. Listen, y'all, quote unquote. I am. I am. Now, I've mentioned before that the tetragrammaton, YHWH, tetra 4 letters, pictographs, the 4 letters ATON, is a remix of the Great Mother, Typhoon Hathor. That the tetragrammaton, initially when it was imagined and put out there, was feminine. But remember, we're not talking about flesh and blood. We're talking about celestially, and just stories, right? Just stories, mythologies. So we're talking about the way the word is constructed. You can tell whether a word is feminine or masculine or neuter, meaning neutral, by its spelling. Okay, this is why they don't pronounce the tetragrammaton. They will say it's too holy to pronounce. Right, y'all? And so they will pronounce, or they will say Adonai or Adon or something like that. Right? Right? Everybody see that? This is it. This is its first iteration. When it first came out. Okay, y'all? Now, the Great Mother says this. I am all that is. I am all that hath been. I am all that will forever be. And my veil, no mortal have drawn aside. In other words, no one has ever lifted her veil. No one has ever seen her. And here's the point. The fruit that I brought forth was the S-U-N, sun. Now let's go back. Well, I want to do one more thing. Page 9, next paragraph, okay? She has been imagined as intensely black. The celestial ship of the north, the great mother typhoon Hathor. She has been imagined as intensely black, her bosom bare, crowned with a golden pyramid, about which twined an immense serpent. Night and darkness belong as symbols. Listen, y'all. Night and darkness belong as symbols. What do we read in Genesis? The stars are what? For signs and seasons. So night and darkness belong as symbols to very great antiquity. Absolutely, without the night, you couldn't see the stars, right? A superabundance of darkness, okay, so absolute darkness, a superabundance of darkness metaphysically is light. Darkness, and here's the point, darkness adopted illumination in order to make itself visible. Y'all see that? Darkness adopted illumination in order to make itself visible. Okay, y'all? Now, let's go back to page 14. That second footnote again. Okay, so the Egyptians symbolically named capital G-O-D, God, the quote-unquote ancient darkness. Of this darkness, H. P. Blavatsky writes, darkness is the root of light. Light is matter, darkness, pure spirit. In other words, darkness is substance, darkness is essence. It's the source. All right? So take the darkness, and now let's consider the S-U-N, sun. See, our ancestors reckoned time by night and darkness. Well, what do you do at night? Or what should you do? What is the human, not the human, what is man's body designed to do when it's dark? What do? We relax. We relax and we sleep. What happens when we relax and we sleep and we get sufficient amount of sleep? What does our body do, y'all? Our body heals itself. What does our mind do? Our mind goes into dream states, right? And begins to work out our problems. Keeps us healthy. But what else is it? It gives you an opportunity to do what, y'all? When it's dark and the lights are out, it gives you an opportunity to reflect, to meditate, to daydream. But what else? Well, it gives you an opportunity to go into the workshop of your mind and implement your, connotatively speaking, y'all, God faculty. You can put yourself in the correct brainwave state, and then begin to imagine what you want to happen, what you want to do, be, and have, the situation and circumstances that you want, what kind of relationship you want with different people. You can begin to imagine solving any kind of problem, relationship, any kind of problem, or giving other people things that they need, be it a healing, be it happiness and contentment, whatever it might be. Go into the workshop of the mind at night. At night. So, I I practice the Silva method. So one of the things that Jose Silva says is that uh, when you use your eyes, it takes your brain waves up to 20 cycles per second. You need to be somewhere between, I think he says, if I remember correctly, 7 and 10, or 7 and 14. I don't remember the exact number. So when the light is coming into your eyes, well, your eyes can be activated. Okay? You can be activated and take you back up to 20 cycles per second. So now you're not in the right brainwave state to create the situation and circumstances and to heal people and to be clairvoyant. Right? Remember, all is mind. The universe exists inside the mind of the all. Okay? And who are we? We are thought made manifest from the soil. Thought is a function of the mind. Okay? So we are literally cosmically connected. Literally cosmically connected. Let me go back to page 9. It says, I am all. Am I saying that I'm the all? No. I'm saying that I am a function of the mind in this fleshly body. This presentation that you see right now, okay, I am thought made manifest from the soil. Thought is a function of mind. Mind is the first Hermetic law, mentalism. Take it or set it down. I am all that is. I am all that have been. I am all that will forever be. And my veil no mortal have drawn aside. See, don't tell me who I am. Okay, you have no way of knowing who I am. I will tell you who I am. Okay? This is the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers that we need to return to. The fruit that I brought forth was the S-U-N Son. I hope everyone understands that. Okay, I hope everyone sees that. So let's keep it moving. I need to just, do I need to say anything else about page 14, the footnote? No, just keep in mind, y'all, darkness is pure spirit. Darkness is the source. Darkness is the essence. Light is matter. Light is matter. All right, so now let's go back to page 42. Hold on, y'all. Okay, so page 42. Where is the lady with? You know, when you go to different cultures, one of the things you notice is that people think differently, right? Things that you think are obvious to other people, they don't get it. So that's why language is so important. So I asked her to bring me coffee, cafe, and tea. She brought me tea. So, in Vietnam, well, I think maybe in most places in Asia, they give you something to drink Usually it's going to be free, and usually it's going to be T. Oh, come on, I know y'all see me. Oh, well. All right. So second paragraph, page 42. So we're talking about the separation of light from darkness. Now we understand this separation of light from darkness, not only from Genesis chapter 1, but the separation of light from darkness, right? That we read on page 9. Literally, the separation of light from darkness. Darkness adopted illumination in order to make itself visible. Darkness adopted light in order to make itself visible. Okay, y'all? All right. All falsities found in the interpretation of the myths are due to their having become literalized. This was done by the dark priesthood. And of course, they've made dark wicked and evil, immoral. Right? So this was done by, Jeremiah 8:8, I almost forgot. All right, so here we go. Hold on. All right. So the gesture or sign language supplementing sounds was an outcome of the image making faculty of primitive man, of the Sabian Moors, Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. It revealed his ideas, sensations, and experiences. Okay, so ideas, sensations would come through what we touch, also the emotions, right? And experiences. So this is touching on mindset. It was thought. Again, it was thought, visualized, a reflected mental expression before the development of words, and became permanent in typology. That's very interesting. I need to read that again. The gesture or sign, supplementing sound. It sounds like he's talking about grunting, right? In other words, from Darwinism, the primate not having the vocal apparatus. Let me show y'all what I mean. Not having the anatomy. Oh, I gotta charge my phone. Not having the anatomy to speak. Let me just show y'all. Let's see. Can y'all see this? Hold on. I'm trying to get a clear. So what he's saying is that before the primate developed the what are they calling this? Speech, articulation. So this is the anatomy that's required for that, y'all. He's saying during the evolutionary process, before this was present in the primate. All right? So they used gestures or sign language, okay? Pointing and who knows what else, right? Supplementing sounds, grunting. All right? So the gesture or sign language, supplementing sounds, was an outcome of the image-making faculty of primitive man. So they had the ability to visualize. But remember, they're still not men, they're primates. When you look at this from an evolutionary point of view, or Darwinism. It revealed his ideas, sensations, and experiences. So of course, this is just what? This is just speculation, right? But of course, we know this is not true. Darwinism never happened. There never has been, and there can never be an evolution of species. It's all BS. In fact, the DNA is designed to prevent change, right? It's designed to prevent changes, okay? And it has self-correcting apparatus, or mechanisms rather. Anyway, he continues. It was thought, visualized, a reflected mental expression before the development of words. Okay, y'all? And became permanent in typology. So let me look up typology. I forgot the meaning of it offhand. I know I went through this. Okay, the study, typology. The study or systematic classification of types that have characteristic or traits in common. Okay, so he's referring to evolution, no doubt. All right. So the earliest method of representing things, conditions, or capital GODs or gods was through types or typologies. Kings and prominent personages, or kings and prominent persons, the elites, were worshipped or glorified under various types or symbols which conveyed the idea of certain powers. So I guess what the author is trying to do is put us in a mindset of evolution and then lead us into where this author imagines or supposes we get the ability to think in terms of symbols and then use these symbols to represent whatever we want to represent them as being. Okay, y'all? This is what the author is getting to. In other words, he's relying on Darwinism. See, they have to have Darwinism or evolution of the species in order to justify their lie, which is that they're superior. They're intelligent. Their being is marked by superior intelligence. Y'all see it? Anything that the Sabian Moors had, the Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, any knowledge and intelligence we have was not because we have an intelligent mind. No, for them, they're saying it's instinct. We were connected to the universe, instinct, not thinking. So this is the sick, perverted mind of these hybrids. Okay, but they have to push that, because if they told the truth, which is that a hybrid will always be inferior. It might be big and grotesque and, very animalistic and strong in its initial several generations, but eventually it will begin to deteriorate. But in terms of its intellectual capacity, no. There's nowhere close to us. And I'm not saying that to be belittling, but that's just a fact. Right? That's the science. Some people might say, well, why do the indigenous people do so poorly in school? If you're asking that question, well, let me just say this. The system is rigged. Okay? Your self-image is assaulted from birth. Okay? Let's not get into it. Let's keep going, because I want to get past these couple pages. The author continues. Thus, the lion was a personification of strength and vigilance. The eagle was the golden bird that soared aloft fearlessly in the flame of the sun. The serpent was the quote-unquote image of eternity. That's the ancient image of the serpent, okay? But the Solarites, they made the serpent into the devil, okay? They remixed it into the devil. Initially, it's the image of eternity. All right, he continues. The lightning held the sting of death. And the sun sun was, quote unquote, emblem of life and light. All right, y'all. Now, how about just saying, which is more practical, that man was born at birth with the capacity to use symbols, to create metaphors, to use similes. He's born with that capacity. Period. Because see, we know that to be true. Okay? If I say, well, Darwinism, the primitive man, initially he was a primate, a monkey of sorts, and he couldn't speak, so he would point and grunt. Well, prove it. Where's the evidence? That's just your imagination. Now, can I prove that men and women can describe things using symbols? Can communicate information using symbols, similes, and metaphors? Absolutely, I can prove it. It's simple. Right? It's simple. And if you deny it, you must be out of your mind. Because everybody does it all the time. Does everyone see that? All right. So the author is attempting to transport us into the narrative of evolution, which is a violation, or it goes against the first law of thermodynamics, which is systems go from complexity or perfection, and then they deteriorate. Okay, they go from organized or perfection or complex to disorganized. Okay, they deteriorate over time, and then they what? They die, right? Right? This is basic. So, but what do? They warp your mind in the classroom. They try to make this stuff complicated so students will buy into their garbage because they haven't thought critically about what they're learning. They just go with what's written in the textbook. Y'all see it? And they write the answer that's supposed to be written on the test, which is the doctrine. Okay, the dogmatic theology of science. Oh man, I don't want to go out there and. This is a good place, but the service can be horrible, unfortunately. Anyway, so let's continue. But it could be because I come here so much and they're comfortable. So I take that back. They might be comfortable with me and, But I like this place. This is a very good place. All right, page 42, last paragraph. Let me see, what else do I want to say here? Okay, last paragraph. Primitive thought dealt with things known and recognized. Things known and recognized. In other words, they were not speculating. They were not imagining stuff up. They were not dealing with belief systems, dogmatic religion. Primitive thought. The Sabian Moors thought dealt with things known and recognized. These are concrete things. They dealt with reality. This is what it's saying. And in expressing it, the people dealt with simple things. In science, if something is simple, it's said to be elegant, which later were introduced into the mysteries. Now you have to remember, these were not mysteries initially. Okay? So we have to be very careful, because the author here says later introduced into the mysteries. Well, none of this was a mystery until the Solarites squashed the Sabian Moors, right? Around 4000 to 4500 BCE, if you believe those time frames. The followers of Osiris, or the Osirians, right? Everybody see that? Okay, that's when these mythologies were converted into religious histories. And these mystery schools hid the information in there, okay? And they just made stuff up and added to the stories, remixed until you have all the garbage that you have now. And remember, in the astrology of the Old Testament, the lost word regained, what's the author's name? Well, I'm doing the classes. If you want to watch those classes, go to on my YouTube channel, our YouTube channel, Zion Law School on YouTube. Okay, and you can watch those classes. Okay, but he tells us that that masonry initially only had 3 degrees. Only 3 degrees, but the Catholics added 30 more. They added 30 more to get it to 33. And a lot of that had to do with making a focus on Virgin Mary. right? And then Dr. Ben, I watched a video with Dr. Ben a day or two ago, and Dr. Ben talked about the same thing, how the Catholics introduced all of this Christianity into Masonry. Okay, into Masonry. Remember Masonry, my son, mother and son, Typhoon and Soot, the celestial ship of the north, the clock of destiny. The Big Dipper hand in the north celestial pole is the minute hand, and Soot, which is Sirius, the dog star, in the south celestial pole. Okay, and our ancestors put a boundary around that which is boundless. That which is boundless is the celestial sea, the celestial ocean, space. They put a boundary around it, a circle around it. Hence, you have clock of destiny. All prophecy is a function of reading the stars, just like we're reading this book. Okay? Clock of destiny. Okay? And of course, circle 7 at the northern celestial pole. So where are we? All right. The type of them symbolized what had not yet been given a name. In this way, the cat became the symbol of the moon because it was in the dark and its eyes, that's the cat's eyes, were luminous at night. Luminous comes, of course, luminous means light, y'all. Luminous means light, right? Okay? So I think everybody knows about the cat's eyes, but the other animals' eyes reflect light too, right? But when in the course of time, it became known that the moon, listen, now this is an important part. I need to underline this, y'all. Listen to this. Listen to this. But when in the course of time, it became known that the moon was the reflection of solar light. Y'all make a notation in your book. Now, how is it? Here's what I want you to think about. How is it that our ancestors who have been keeping time by Circle 7 and the Clock of Destiny, the celestial ship of the north, for an uncountable span of time, who were experts on astrology and astronomy, how is it that they did not know that the moon was the reflection of solar light? How did they not know that? Think about this too. If at night you don't see the moon, if during the day you don't see the moon, but you see the moon at night, are you going to think that the moon is reflecting sunlight? Because you already know the sun is if you look at the globe, I guess, I don't know what they call it. Now they have flat earth and the globe. I don't know what to call it. But if you, flat earth, if you, how do I want to say this? When you consider that the earth is a globe, if you look at it from that point of view, and you know the sun, you know there's a south celestial pole, you know there's a north, you know there's an east and a west, okay? And you know that the moon is not visible during the day, but it's visible at night. Isn't it just common sense that it's visible at night because the sun is reflecting light off of it? Isn't that just common sense, y'all? Do you need anybody to tell you that? Okay? But you have to be entrained in the notion or in the story of evolution to think that people were stupid. Okay, they were stupid. They could not have realized that way back then, right? But that's a trick bag. It's not true. This is simple logic. All right, y'all. So, but when in the course of time it became known that the moon was the reflection of solar light, the cat's eye became the type of the sun. Now, y'all, listen to this, okay? So this was a shift. Hold on. All right. So this is a shift. So on page 42, I'm underlining the cat. The cat became symbol to the moon. Hold on, y'all. All right. Okay. So the cat's eye became initially the cat's eye is the moon. All right. Over time, the cat's eye becomes the sun. Why? Because it reflected the solar light. Because it reflected the solar light. As the eye gives back, listen, y'all, as the eye gives back its image in its mirror. So you look in the mirror, you see your eye. Quote unquote, in its form as the goddess Pasht, I don't know how to pronounce that, Pasht. It keeps watch for the sun sun, with this paw holding down and bruising the head of the serpent. Y'all see where this is going? Holding down and bruising the head of the serpent of darkness. Who's the serpent? Well, one of the symbols of the Great Mother is a serpent. And the Great Mother is what, y'all? Absolute darkness. Let's look at this again. In its form, talking about the cat, this now representing the sun. Okay, solar deities, the Osirians, Osiris, the Father, the Son, both of them represent the sun. Okay, so this cat is representing the solar zodiac projection, or the mindset of the solarites. You know what? That's how I'm going to refer to it now. Mindset of the solarites. Of the solarites versus mindset. Should I say? I'll say mindset of the Sabian Moors. Of the Sabian Moors. And I'm going to put equals mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. So here's an example or one element of that mindset. Our ancient foremothers and forefathers, we were a matriarchy. Under the mindset of the Solarites, it's a patriarchy, fundamental difference. See, the psychology of a man is different from the psychology of a woman. The psychology of a male is different from the psychology of a female. Now, if you understand what I just said, then we're on the same page. And a man and a male are not the same thing. Well, they're not the same. And a woman and a female are not the same thing. The psychology of the feminine is different from the psychology of the masculine. And the psychology of the female is different from the psychology of the male. If you understand what I'm saying. Okay, we're dealing with Genesis chapter 1 and Genesis chapter 2. Okay, so one element is patriarchy. The other is how we reckon time. So let's continue, y'all. In its form as the goddess Pasht, it keeps watch for the sun with this paw holding down and bruising the head of the serpent of darkness. So now this cat has its paw on the Great Mother Typhoon's head and is holding the Great Mother Typhoon down. Y'all see the violence? Y'all see the violence? Which was called the sun's enemy. So the serpent of darkness is Typhoon. Okay, the celestial ship of the north. Scholars, do you see it? Okay, so the Great Mother, the Sabian Moors, from the point of view of the Solarites, who are the Osirians, they see the Sabian Moors, they see us in the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, they see us as enemies. As enemies. The eye of the cat was also very symbolic as a timekeeper. That's no surprise, right? Because the sun is a solar zodiac projection. They reckon time by the sun. Oh, in other words, they are defining time by the ecliptic, by the sun's annual walk along the ecliptic. And it gets to the cardinal points, right? North, south, east, and west. Summer solstice, June 22nd. Winter solstice, December 22nd. Vernal equinox, March 22nd. And then the fall or autumn equinox, September 22nd. And then, of course, the Ta cross. Okay, the Ta cross, which would be Referencing what, y'all? You remember? Do you remember? Referencing Ezekiel chapter 1, the four living creatures, and I think it's Revelation chapter 4. Okay, so Taurus the bull, Leo the lion, Scorpio the eagle, and then Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius is the man's head. All right, so Scorpio the eagle is an earlier representation of the zodiac sign Scorpio. Okay, these are four living creatures. Okay, y'all. So the eye of the cat is also very symbolic as a timekeeper. Okay, y'all? So the clock of destiny is their enemy. Well, let me rephrase that. When we have the mindset of the clock of destiny and circle 7, they see us as an enemy. This is what the author is writing, is saying here. The eye. Let me just say it again. In its form of the goddess Pash, it keeps, talking about the cat, it keeps watch for the sun with its paw holding down and bruising the head of the serpent of darkness. Holding down and bruising, that's violence. Holding down and bruising the head of the serpent of darkness. We already went through darkness. Darkness is the source of light. This is like your child attacking you. All right? Which was called the sun's enemy. So now the Osirians are calling the Great Mother Typhoon the sun's enemy. But remember, what did the Great Mother Typhoon say? We read it on page 9. Does anyone remember about the fruit she gave forth? Does anyone remember? Here's what it says. The Great Mother Typhoon says, the fruit that I brought forth was the sun, sun. So now the sun attacks, puts his foot on his mother's head and bruises her, holds her down. Put that image in your mind. See someone you know, a son. Get the visual image. Or maybe even your son. Taking you to the ground and putting their foot on your head. Bruising you. That means hitting you. Okay? That means hitting you. And holding you down. That means got the foot, because it said paw, got the foot on your head, your own son. Get that image in your mind, you mothers. That's what's happening here. Let's look at this on page 13, first paragraph, the last sentence. The branding of Soot Typhoon. This is the mother and son, Sirius the dog star Soot. So this is, time has passed. Okay, so the Soot Typhoon is a remix. Okay, now remember, Sut Typhoon is actually the clock of destiny. Now they're combining this into a religion at this point. Okay, guys? So Typhoon would be the Great Bear, the Minute Hand in the north, celestial pole region, and then Sut would be Sirius the Dog Star in the south, celestial pole region. So in other words, you have the feminine in the north and the masculine in the south. Of course, Sut is the hour hand of the clock, and then the Great Bear is the minute hand of the clock. So this is the clock of destiny. Okay, y'all? That they remixed into a deity or religion, Sut Typhoon, or the followers of Sut Typhoon, or Sut Typhonians, okay? The branding of the Sut Typhonians as the fatherless ones, religiously speaking. Okay, so things had already deteriorated into religion. So a lot of time passed by, right? So this is very modern history, very recent history. Came through worship of the mother and child. Came through worship of the mother and child, that's Typhoon and her son Sut, who became, listen to this, y'all, who became the harlot, the whore, the prostitute of Revelation, and the bastard of the Osirians. So she became the bastard, I'm sorry, Sut Typhoon became the bastard of the Osirians. So the Osirians considered Sut Typhonians bastards. Of course, that's being used in a derogatory way, right? So let's go back to page 43. The eye of the cat was also very symbolical as a timekeeper. The Egyptians say that the male cat changes the shape of the pupil of its eye according to the course of the sun. I don't know if that's true or not. In the morning, at the rising of the Eshun sun god, the cat's eyes are dilated. In the middle of the day, the cat's eye becomes round. And about sunset, the cat's eye appears less brilliant. Okay, so this comes from Hor Apollo. Footnote 1 comes from Hor Apollo. Next paragraph. A statue of the god in the city of the sun, that's the Heliopolis. This is on a statue of a god in the city of the sun. Y'all, there's a whole bunch. The city of the sun is all throughout the devil's pulpit, being used to make words. Okay? For example, Solomon. It's a compound word. Sol, Latin for sun. On, Egyptian for sun, city of the sun. Sol, Sol, I believe it's Hindu or some maybe Hindu. On, Sol, on, city of the sun. Okay, so Sol, Latin for sun, and then Om, city of the sun, and then Sol, On. Yeah, On, the Egyptian On, also means city of the sun. In Greek, the Heliopolis. So a statue of the god in the city of the sun, the Eshun sun, was in the form of a cat. When the transformation of the solar god was made into a cat. Can y'all believe this stuff? The book of the quote unquote, the book of the dead said, he makes the likeness of Seb. So Seb is a remix of Sut, S-U-B. I'm sorry, S-U-T. So the cat makes the likeness of Sut. Now remember, Sut is Sirius the Dog Star. So now they got a cat, the likeness of the dog. Everybody see that? The remix? And Seb was a god of time. All right, y'all? So time is a mindset. How you reckon time determines how you manage your day and how you see the world, how you plan for the future. This is a mindset, all right? A timepiece made in the form of a cat is still in use by the Chinese, who employed the eye of a cat according to the size of its pupil to determine time. Huh? So we have the clock of destiny, and things deteriorated when the Osirians destroyed the Sabian Moor way of life, paradigm, the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, and hid the clock of destiny, hid Circle 7 until Noble Drew Ali brought it back to us, of course, in C.M. Bay with his 2-volume work, Clock of Destiny. They replaced that with a timepiece in the form of a cat. This is in Asia. This is still in use. That was still in use in 1927. Okay? This timepiece employed the eye of a cat according to its pupil size, as we just read in the paragraph above that, to determine time. Do y'all see how far things descended? Do you see how far things descended? The male cat, okay, not the female. See, the Great Mother is female. Okay? So there's also a shift with that. And y'all keep in mind, sunrise, middle of the day, this is the sun at its zenith, and then sunset, there's your 3, that's a trinity. Does everyone see that? There's a trinity there. Okay, there is a trinity. So the rising sun, the birth of Jesus, baby Jesus, the maturity, the sun at the zenith, okay, around 12 noon, and then the declining Jesus, or the man who's becoming older and his body begins to break down, and eventual death, right? So this is the Trinity. This is incredible. Incredible. All right, last paragraph on page 43. We find the Egyptian mythology of the heavens definite creations We find in the Egyptian mythology of the heavens definite creations, their formations often being in accordance with the character of the circle and the division of the circle. All right, y'all. Let me show y'all something. I'm glad we got to that. I want to show you something. Do y'all see the number 7 here? Is in a circle, right? Let me reduce it. Do you see the number 7? Circle 7. Y'all see that? Now draw a line from here. What constellation do you see? Hold on. What constellation do y'all see now? You see the Great Bear. Do y'all see the Great Bear? Today they call it the Big Dipper. Do y'all see the Big Dipper now? Hold on. My battery is about to go out. Draw a line from here, from the edge of the 7. Hold on. Do y'all see the Big Dipper? Can y'all see it? The Big Dipper? This is the Great Bear, circle 7. See? There it is, the Big Dipper. So use your imagination, okay? Let's get another one that looks more like a 7. So just take a look, use your imagination, okay? Don't look for don't look for it to be perfect, because then everybody would see it, right? So let's go back to circle 7. Can y'all see with the line smoothed out? All you need here, all you need is to connect that point here, and you get a Big Dipper. Do y'all see it? Circle 7. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Where was I? Oh, okay, so the character of the circle, remember our ancestors said that they drew a or border around that which was boundless, okay? So in the north, we have the northern constellations circling around the pole, okay? That's a circle. Let's continue. I gotta read it over, y'all. Sorry, because I don't remember. So we find in the Egyptian mythology of the heavens definite creations, their formations often being in accordance with the character of the circle. And the division of the circle. In the book of Enoch are the words, quote unquote, I behold the secrets of heaven and of paradise. Paradise, of course, is the Garden of Eden in the celestial North Pole, according to its divisions, end quote. The first division was that of the celestial waters. This is the great abyss that we read about. The celestial sea, space. Okay? So the first division was of the celestial waters, from which the 72 duodecans of the zodiac were finally evolved. Finally evolved, meaning that they were not in the picture initially, but they came at a much later date. Y'all heard? Mythological astrology was purely Egyptian, originating from a primal source, the Sabian Moors, whose chief types came from the constellations and stars. Hindu, Arabian, Chaldean, and Greek systems agree on this point. Okay, so that's it. Everybody agrees, right? That's a consensus. Ancient countries were very close to each other in the knowledge and wisdom found in the heavens. Well, that's because it was widespread. It was common knowledge, right? There was no occult. There were no mysteries initially, as well as in many other ways. There was a time when temples of astrological knowledge were scattered all over the world, in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, and in America. This was a time when the myth of the sun, sun, and the dragon was sacred and belonged to a symbolical worship. Okay, so it had already descended into the solar zodiac projection. So y'all, you can pause this on the replay to read this. Hold on. Now this. So let me show it like this. Y'all pause it on the replay, okay? And then there you are. Pause it on the replay to read it. Let me show you page 42 too. I forgot to show it. So here's page 42. Okay. All right. Everyone knew this. There were no mystery schools. Okay? So what is this telling us? That this knowledge should be made available to all our people. To anybody who wants it should be able to have it. Right? It should not be held back or held only for selected people or held in some type of it should be publicly available. All right, like water. Okay. So page 44. As types, the dragon and the serpent were interchangeable. Did y'all just hear that? The dragon and the serpent were interchangeable, but distinguishable. Now, y'all, as scholars, we are talking about constellations. Okay? So the dragon, remember the serpent represents the Great Mother. The serpent astronomically connected with the sun and spiritually with wisdom. Wow, so now they've connected the serpent to the S-U-N Son. Do y'all see the remix? Well, it gets worse. And spiritually with wisdom. Wisdom, remember, wisdom is feminine. That's the Holy Spirit. So he's going to show us, I'm assuming, he's about to show us the remix. The remix of the Great Mother. And then the transition to what? Matriarch to patriarch. I hope everyone sees that. Y'all see it? Pause it on the replay so you can read this. I read this a while ago, so I don't remember exactly what's on the page. So let's do it. So the next sentence reads, the serpent astronomically connected with the S-U-N Son, and spiritually, what the heck does that mean? With wisdom, has been found portrayed in the planisphere, scribbled or carved on rocks. Oh, y'all heard that? They're saying that you can find Sabian Moors, or I guess artifacts that are showing this, okay? Scribbled or carved on rocks in caves or on monuments all over the world. The serpent symbol was the most spiritual of all. It stood for physical regeneration. Well, this is a characteristic of the Great Mother Typhoon, the celestial ship of the North, right? Beginnings, regeneration, reproduction, right, y'all? Okay, so it stood, let's talk about the serpent. It stood for physical regeneration, this is the Great Mother, and immortality. It should be remembered that Moses was an Egyptian initiate. Absolutely. Moses was learned in all the ways of the Egyptians. Okay? And Moses knew the wisdom of the serpent. Of course, Christianity remixes the serpent into a mythological character called the devil. Y'all see how they disgraced, defame, slander, and libel the Great Mother? The mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, the Sabian Moors, do y'all see it? They made it all negative. Why? Well, the author tells us. He tells us the cat's eye, this is the sun, is a timekeeper, and the cat's eye, the cat, sees the serpent of darkness, this is the Great Mother Typhoon, the celestial ship of the North, as its enemy. Plain and simple. All right, y'all? A mythological and symbolical method of reasoning appears far back in the distant vistas of time, before the words or language of any people were known. Well, no, that's BS. That's meant to transport you back into the narrative of Darwinism and evolution of species, okay? In other words, this is a justification, y'all. I just realized this. The author is trying to justify these things that have been done to this violence against the Great Mother and the Sabian Moors. Okay, and the author is trying to make it seem like this is the normal course of nature, which it is not. Everybody see that? So he's trying to justify their position. through the theory of evolution, which mathematically is impossible. And take that for what it's worth. Okay, y'all? So what the author is trying to do is say, hey, this was inevitable, it's their fault. It's supposed to be this way because things evolve. So a mythological and symbolical method of reasoning that's even ridiculous in itself. But anyway, let's skip that sentence. Next sentence. Early beginnings were found in the heavens. Knowledge of the Kamite serpent of millions of years was one of the first concepts. Kamite, Kam, Kim, Kemet, Egypt. And y'all know they plagiarized that. They remixed that into Semite. They replaced the K in Kam with an S and changed the vowel. Semite. Y'all know where I got that from? Let me remind you of this. If I can find it really quickly. Page 27. Semitic origins show etymologically their Kemetic derivation. The letter K of Kam was transformed into the letter S of Sam, which was the root word of Semite. The Semites were known later as the Sumerians. The Sumerians followed the Kemites when the race of Kam left its primitive or nomadic habitat. The earliest wise men were known to have come from the south. Wisdom is a proper application of knowledge. That would be based upon what, y'all? Principles. This is the south as in the solar zodiac projection, as above, so below, as below, so above. The southern solar zodiac projection is principles. Okay, that's where that is, principles. In the north, it's beginnings. Okay, so the earliest wise men were from the south, not from the east. The east would be the east gate, which would be what, y'all? Aries. Aries, the ram of God. Aries, the lamb of God, the ram, who is JC, the Christ figure, the lamb of God. So y'all pause this on the replay and read it. All right, so there's nothing going on but a bunch of thievery. Knowledge of the Kemetic serpent of millions of years was one of the first concepts. So this ain't got nothing to do with the S-U-N sun and everything to do with what? The serpent is the great mother. All right? This was the seven-headed primordial serpent of darkness. Seven-headed, is that referencing the seven stars, y'all? Of the Great Bear? Or the seven constellations? In the northern celestial pole region? Are there seven? I need to check it. I haven't had a chance to check it. I think it's seven, but don't quote me. Whose seven heads were the seven constellations in the north? Well, there you go. There's seven constellations in the north. Let me make a note of that. So the seven-headed serpent is the celestial ship of the north is Hathor, is the great mother, and the 7 heads represent the 7 constellations in the circumpolar region, the north region. Y'all see it? Everybody got that? All right, so there's our serpent of darkness. It has 7 heads, okay, which are the 7 constellations in the north, discovered as the makers of a circle. Y'all see it? Circle 7. I hope anyone who may have had ill feelings about me saying that this was Circle 7, I hope that gives you a reason to not be upset. I need to show these circles. Hold on, y'all. I have pictures somewhere. Give me 1 second. Let me show you a picture. You can go to my community post, and you can see images, okay, of these circles, makers of circles. And here we are. Wait a minute, y'all. Here we are. These are the circles. All right. So the 7 constellations going around the pole star, making circles. Y'all see it? This is why the Great Mother is said to be the mother of time. Everybody see that? So we're on page 44. Knowledge of the Kemite serpent of millions of years, millions, was one of the first concepts. This was the 7-headed primordial serpent of darkness, whose 7 heads were the 7 constellations in the north, discovered as the makers of a circle as they turn around the pole, which was anterior to the myths. Anterior to means before the myths, which were anterior to the myths and symbols founded on the constellation Draco, the dragon or serpent, with its 7 heads or 7 stars, which belonged to the constellation of the little bear, and was joined to Draco in early reckonings. Wow. I have to read that again, yo. Okay, y'all, so the 7-headed serpent the seven-headed serpent, and those seven heads again were the seven constellations in the north. So that was first. That was first. That's the most ancient. And then later, the author says Draco. It's talking about Draco, which was joined to the Little Dipper or the Little Bear. So let's read that. So let me put a number 1 here. All right, so the makers of time, the makers of a circle, of course. Well, let me prove this to you so nobody so these circles are time, okay? 1 second. One second, y'all. Let me just. Okay, this is on page 11. Page 11. All right. So she was talking about the Great Mother. She was later made goddess of the constellation of the Great Bear. And what? Yeah. Thanks. Mother goddess. And her first son was called Sut. Isn't it interesting that the S-U-N son is not her first son? Her first son was called Sut, the dog star in the south. It is here the mystical allegory. Wait a minute, I have to move up. Let's start at the beginning of the second paragraph on page 11. The abyss in Egypt is a name of the north. And the original mother of this abyss, this is the celestial ocean, y'all, the celestial sea. So the original mother of this abyss, which was space, so the abyss is space, was called Typhoon, the mother of beginnings, the mother of the fields of heaven, the mother of revolutions, cycles of time, as well as the mother of gods, capital G-O-D-S, and men. And men. So we got to go back to CM Bay now. The mother of gods and men. Oh no, cafe.
Cafe.
Yeah. Yeah, cafe. Keep black cafe, no sugar.
Đá giống như là
Cafe. Okay. Coffee. Okay, y'all. So is it clear, everyone? So the mother of revolutions, the mother of time cycles, the mother of time cycles. Okay, so cycles of time. So we are the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers reckons time in cycles of time. Now let's go back to CM Bay. She's also called the mother of gods and men. So CM Bay volume 2, page 38. The sons of a widow, this would be the great typhoon that we've been talking about, the celestial ship of the north. So the sons of a widow, a woman, are the only supreme beings. Do y'all see it? Everybody see it? So in the in the Biblioheliotext, they will refer to that as what? The Elohim. And if you've been misled into thinking that the Elohim are gods, you've been misled. Gods in the religious sense, okay? So, one moment. Uh-oh. Hold on, y'all. So let's go back. The mother of revolutions, the mother of cycles of time. Each circle represents a cycle of time. Okay, and the pole stars change. So I found that out. The pole stars do change. And it had no negative impact on our timekeeping thinking. No negative impact on our timekeeping. Did everyone see that? Timekeeping was fine. So the Osirians used this alibi that we were not keeping time correctly just as an alibi to attack us, to implement religion with this basis of being oriented in the solar zodiac projection. That's all it was. All right, scholars? All right. So she was the mother of revolutions, the mother of cycles of time, as well as the mother of gods and men. Note that the men is capitalized. All right. She was later made goddess, okay, or remixed as goddess of the constellation of the Great Bear, mother goddess, and her first son was called Sut, the dog star in the south. First son was Sut, the dog star in the south. Now these Osirians, these solarites, are remixing the Great Mother into the SUN Sun. This is what we're reading about now, right? That's what we're reading about now. Okay, so go back to page 14, second paragraph. We dealt with the seven-headed serpent of darkness. Okay, we dealt with that. Now let's deal with Draco. Okay, so as they turned around the pole, these are the 7 constellations in the north. As they turned around the pole, which was anterior means front, right? Which was anterior to, so that means more ancient, before the myths and symbols founded on the constellation Draco. The dragon or serpent. So Draco is the dragon or serpent. So we're dealing with the mythologies on Draco, okay? About Draco, rather. With its 7 heads, so Draco has 7 heads, or 7 stars, which belong to the constellation of the Little Bear. Y'all see that? So the Little Bear would be what, y'all? The Little Dipper. So we have the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper. And was joined to Draco in earlier reckoning. So the earlier constellation, Draco, and the Little Dipper were considered one constellation, and then they broke them apart. Everybody see that? Okay, page 44. The same constellation Draco was also called the crocodile, which figures so largely in all mythological astrology. That's an important thing to remember. This page is actually phenomenal. And as the crocodile was a type of sunset and sunrise. Very interesting, right? The crocodile was a type of sunset and sunrise. The tip of the crocodile's tail as sunset was called cam. Okay, so the tip of the crocodile's tail was called sunset. It's called cam, or obvious, right? Because it gets dark at night. And so here it has in parentheses black. Okay, so sunset. Now it's no wonder why our ancestors, when they talked about days in old times, they talked about moons, right? Many moons ago. Okay, many moons ago. While its two eyes represented sunrise. So the two eyes represented sunrise. Why? Because they reflect light. Right? Same thing going on with the cat's eyes. This conforms to the natural fact as the crocodile comes out of the darkness at sunrise, lies on the sand during daytime, and at night, when the crocodile disappears in the water, the last thing you see is the crocodile's tail, the tip of its tail, which thus became the ideograph of darkness. Everybody see that? Not a devil or demon mentioned yet. Okay, so this is describing natural phenomena. This is the same dragon or crocodile which was placed in the mountains of the west. Uh-oh, y'all. In the Akkadian myth, and because of its great jaws, was said to swallow the lights, the sun, moon, and stars. The constellation Hydra, called the dragon of the waters below, and the constellation of Draco, of the waters above, representing, quote unquote, overwhelming darkness. Overwhelming darkness. Or superabundance of darkness. Y'all see it? Superabundance of darkness, of course, is pure light. Okay, y'all? Okay, so again, it says, quote unquote, overwhelming darkness were interchangeable. All right, y'all? Out of the darkness leapt the lightning bolt, and in the deep waters lurked another subtle foe of life. Thus the jaws and fangs and sting of death were assigned to the devil of darkness. Do y'all see that? Who gradually assumed the character of man's mortal enemy that brought about death to the world. This is coming from Gerald Massey. It is difficult to realize that the constellation Draco, or the serpent belonging to the myths of the past, became the personified devil in theology. Do y'all see that? Do you see how they disgrace the Great Mother? How they disgrace us? How they made evil, they vilified our mindset, Circle 7 and the Clock of Destiny? Is it clear? Now keep in mind, Draco is overwhelming darkness, which is absolute darkness, which is pure spirit, which is essence, which is substance, which is the mother of us all, which is the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, the Sabian Moors. Am I too loud, ma'am? Am I too loud? You want me to? It's okay. I have to keep it down. How long have we been going? Well, I'm gonna stop it here. So Islam to all the Moors. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom.